John Mayfield, the real estate tech guy, and I'm so excited you're joining me for another live stream, a Friday afternoon live stream. It is an absolute gorgeous day outside. I mean, probably the prettiest day I've seen in a long, long time. But I'm in here in my studio because I want to help you pass the real estate exam, and I want Global Real Estate School to be your choice for real estate education, and I want you to tell all of your friends and everybody about globalrealestateschool.com. We are approved in 10 states now. Now, 8 of those states are directly approved through Global Real Estate School. 2 of the states we work through other schools within their school as the online provider, but 8 states, Global Real Estate School is the school approved, but we're operating in 10 states, and we want to help you get your real estate license. And actually, I want to help you even long after that, okay? So I'm going to take you over to the board. We're going to get into some more state questions that I wanted to go over. Actually, had talked about or thought about doing some real estate tax work, but we will maybe just actually go over some Missouri exam questions, maybe some tax questions. So let's do taxes. Maybe that sounds like fun now. I hope my cameras are working correctly because I have a new setup. I've actually always had my keyboard and my mouse and everything pointed that way and the screen's back this way. And last night I was having some trouble and I thought, might make more sense to set up the other camera this direction so that I'm looking at the board. And I think I actually have some better lighting now as well. So I'm going to just take a quick peek over that way and make sure that I am broadcasting. And it looks like I am, but I just want to make certain, and it looks like I am. So good. All right. Well, don't forget, we want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm getting so close to 3,000 subscribers. So be sure, do that, click on the bell, and each and every time I go live, you will be notified. Well, let's go over to the board. And remember, if we go right up here to Content Library, up here, right, you can see the Home button up in the top left corner. If you are a student, always go to that Content Library. You've got practice exams. You have state questions. I'm in the Missouri portion now. I have my real estate math made easy, review modules, and of course all of our study sessions are right here. I did not put last night's study session on there, but I'm going to be doing that. But we were over in chapter 7, and I'm just going to resume. Normally I encourage you in the reviews to restart, to flush out any answers, but I think this will actually take me over here, and we did this problem last night, and so we were coming over here. We have not done this one yet. So let's take a look at this problem right here. And as you can see, it's talking about if the tax rate on a home was 64.5 mils and the home was assessed at 25% of its fair market value of $175,000, how much was their quarterly tax? Well, I have a show me here, and we'll just kind of go through this. You could see that the first item you need to do is you need to take 175,000 times 0.25. Now, why are we taking that sales price times a 0.25? Well, remember, in the problem, it said the property was valued at the assessed value, which is what we need to come up with, at 25% of the appraised value. So the appraised value was 175,000, and you can see that when we take 175,000 times 0.25, we get the assessed valuation. Now, the next point is to take the assessed value, $43,750, and we multiply it times 0.0645, and that gives us the annual tax. But remember, the problem wanted to know what the quarterly tax was. They love those kinds of questions on the exam. So some of you may be saying, wait a minute, I don't get the whole meal thing, John. Well, let's go back over, and this is a great part about the review modules, is you can go back and look at anything we've talked about here. So if we go back up here, we can go back to real estate taxes, and here's where we talked about a mil. And remember, 1 mil is equal to 1/1000th of a dollar, or 1/10 of a penny, which is 0.001. And you can see where we had 40 mils was described as 0.040. Okay? So if it's 1/110th of a penny, and I'm going to be the first to admit math was never my strong point, okay? It just wasn't. And I don't know, I like math and I wish I was good at math, but I think maybe I could have been sick with the flu and they were covering fractions and all of that. But if it's 1/110th of a penny, it means that 10 of these you would need 10 of them to equal 1 penny, or 1%. So that 1% we know is 0.01. And so in this example, this means that would be 0.001. Now, if we go back over to our problem, it tells us that. So 4%, 0.04, you can see that 40 mils would be expressed as 0.040, because 10% would be 0.010. So in the question of this problem that we're trying to calculate here, it's 64.5 mils. So 64.5 mils would be, we'd 1, 2, 3, so it'd be 0.0645. Now that's why we took, and I'm going to go back over here to the show me, that's why we took the 43,750 times 0.0645. And again, that gives us annual taxes. You just divide that by 4 and you'll get the quarterly tax amount. So the thing we did the night before, or last night, it gave us a problem, and it said that I'll actually pull that up. It was per 1,000. I think it was right up here. Let's see. This one right here. It was $3.50 per 1,000 of assessed value. Well, in that example, when we took 90,000 times, and remember we had our T problem here, and I always put my math on there. We were solving for the assessed value, times 40%, or we move the decimal over 2 places. So 0.40, we would get 36,000, and it said that the taxes were $3.50 per $1,000 of assessed value. And this is the assessed value. So when we divide that by 1,000, we get 36. And then we multiply 36 times 350. We get the total tax for the year, and we divided that by 4 to get the quarterly tax, okay? That's how we did that. So just remember the example where we had the mills, it just kind of shortcuts everything, because once we can get the assessed valuation, then we just have to multiply it times the mill rate. And so if they give you 50 mills, you have to put this to memory. But if they say it's, 50 mills, that would be 0.050. And so they're always going to give you the appraised price of the property, $100,000, and they may say the tax rate is, or that the assessed valuation is 60% of the appraised value. Well, we're solving for the assessed value, and our multiplication tells us to multiply. So that's $60,000 as the assessed valuation. Now, all we have to do is take that times the mill rate, and we will get, in this case, we will get 60,000 times 0.050, and that will give us our annual tax. And then I just want you to be, so in this case, $60,000 times 0.050 would be $3,000. And I thought that's what it was. And so just be on the lookout when you read these questions. Are they asking for quarterly? Are they asking for semi-annually? Or are they asking for something else? Okay, so they could be asking for annual, but just if you get the annual tax and they're asking for semi-annually, you have to divide it by 2. If they're asking for quarterly, you'll have to divide it by 4. Now, in the assessment of property taxes, a mill is equal to, which one of those is it? Is it A, B, C, or D? Well, you think it's A? Let's try it. That's the correct answer. So it's 0.001. Put that to memory, okay? Number 2, I guess who would pay the most for special assessment of a new sidewalk in a neighborhood? Well, remember when we talked about this yesterday or last night, and you can watch this on our previous episode, I drew out a street, remember that? And I gave the street a name. It may have been Smith Street, I can't remember. And I gave a street over here, and I think this was Taylor Avenue. And I had these lot owners here, and I had number, this is a lot, this is an owner, and this is an owner. And I remember I used blue, and this is a new sidewalk. It was a special assessment. And so we said, who's going to pay more for the sidewalk? And ad valorem is according to value. This person has more footage of the sidewalk, so they're going to pay more tax. So a lot owner with 30 square yards of frontage, a lot owner with 82 foot of frontage, a lot owner with 75 foot frontage, or a lot owner on the corner with 91 foot frontage and 125 foot depth. And so you could see a question like that on the exam, and that's who's going to pay the most. Remember here, which lien would take priority? a 6-month-old special assessment, 2-year-old first deed of trust, 4-month-old mechanics lien, a 5-month-old second deed of trust. And I told you tax liens always take priority. And do not forget, and I hope my camera's on because sometimes that camera will go off, but we're just trusting it's on because I went to a different camera angle and you should be seeing me now. But a tax lien always takes priority. And remember that a special assessment is just like a tax lien, carries as much weight. So it's a 6-month-old special assessment because tax liens always take priority. A piece of real estate contained a farmhouse, 2 barns, several tractors, and land acreage. If the mill rate was 75, it would apply to all of the above except, well, would it apply to the tractors? Remember from chapter 2, a tractor would be considered what? A tractor would be considered personal property, okay? And personal property doesn't have a real estate tax on it, so it might have a personal property tax, but would it be that? Well, I'm going to check that, but let's read on because John says what? John says you always read the question 2 or 3 times, okay? So, would it go to the barns? Yeah, that's real estate. Would it go to the farmhouse? Sure, that's real estate. Would it go to the land acreage? Sure, that's real estate. So, let's read it again. A piece of real estate contained a farmhouse, 2 barns, several tractors, and land acreage. If the mill rate was 75, the mill rate, remember we've talked about that already, it would apply to all of the following except, and that's what they want us to answer, except the tractors. Good job. Now, by the way, just so you will know, and I want to remind our audience to be sure and sign up for our YouTube channel if you haven't, but in my course, there's audio feedback on all of the questions, okay, which is really cool. So anytime you miss a question, you're going to hear me give you audio feedback. And so I had some students say, well, John, we really like it when you tell us when we missed a question, but sometimes when we get it right, we'd like to know what that answer, sometimes we don't know why we got it right. So in the new version that we're getting ready to launch, audio feedback, whether you get it right or get it wrong. So if you don't want to listen to me, you can go on, but I've always got a little nugget to share trying to reteach the topic. And so don't forget that, okay? And I've been working very hard on that. I'm going to grab a quick drink of water here before we read this question. So in this specific question, a property was assessed at 25% of market value. The rate was $5 per 1,000. If the homeowner actually paid $150 in tax, what was the total value of the property? Now, wait a minute, John. We haven't worked any like this. That's right. But that's okay. That's why we're doing it now, so I can show you how to do that, okay? So, how do you work this one? So I'm going to take this and I'm going to bring this information over to our whiteboard. We're going to clear that. And I know that it said it was 25%. And the other information I need from this is a total tax was $150. Okay, we know that. Minimize. Whoop. There we go. $5 per 1,000. $5 per 1,000. All right. And it wanted to know, let me go back over here. So a property was assessed at 25% of market value. The rate was $5 per 1,000. If the homeowner actually paid $150 in tax, what was the total value of the property? Now, let me just show you something here for test day. Look at the answers here. We have 30,000, 120, and one. So we have, and I'm going to put these in green, okay? 30,000, 120,000. Was it 133,000 was another choice? And 82.5. $82.5. Now, you might be saying, oh gosh, when I look at this question, John, it freaks me out because we haven't worked it this way. And this is where I like to say it's okay to go in the back door. And I would wait and do these at the very end of your exam, okay? So rather than spending a lot of time here, if you don't know how to answer this question, just flag it and skip it because the exam's not going to let you finish until you've checked an answer for every question. But don't get bogged down on trying to do the math right now. In fact, you might even want to come back and do the math later if math freaks you out. But let's go in the back door on this one. And what do I mean by going in the back door? I mean this. We know that if the total tax was $150, first of all, I'm just going to start with this bigger number, this 120,000. So remember when we did the TEEV problem earlier? Put our math up there, and we know that this was the sales price. See, what I'm doing is I'm going to plug each answer in till it fits. And I know that this is 0.25, right? We know that, and my math tells me to multiply. So again, I would wait till the end. I don't want you to burn up good brain resources on all of these other hard questions you have to read through, okay? I'm just trying to give you a strategy. So if we took 120,000 and multiplied it by 0.25, we get 30,000. This was what we were solving for. And actually, I'd rather put that in red so you can see that. That's what we were solving for, right? Now, it says that it's $5 per 1,000. So, remember this 30,000? We have to take that and divide it by 1,000, and we get what? 30. And it's $5 per 1,000, and we take 30 times $5. So I'm going to divide that by 1,000 equals 30 times 5.00 equals $150. And that's the answer, right? That's what they were saying. If the total tax is $150, what was the sales price? We just went through the back door, and so I know $150 works. So the sales price must be how much? $120,000, okay? Now I wanted to do it that way to say you do not get penalized for going in the back door. And there's another reason that I wanted to do this for you is that I want to remind you that if you see a question that absolutely looks mind-boggling to you, skip it. Do you hear me? On test day, just say, man, this is going to take some brain energy from me. I'm going to come back and do it later. Skip it and go on to the next question. Now, this could be just a question you don't know or a math problem that looks pretty crazy. And the reason you want to skip it is I want you to stay fresh for all those other questions. So you're going to go through and you're going to read another question. You're going to say, hey, that's a purchase money mortgage. It's owner financing. The seller carried part of the financing. That's a purchase money mortgage. And you're going to go on and you're going to say, well, when the life estate is over, the remainderman owns it in fee simple. You know that one, and boom, you go on to the next one, and you go on to the next one, and you're answering all these questions, and then at the end, you're like, okay, I got these 15 big matzo balls that are still on my plate, right? But we've gotten the bulk of the exam over with. So now you go back and you look at this and you say, I just don't even know where to start on this problem, okay? So you're going to look at this problem right here and you're going to say, I don't even know where to start on this. But then you're going to say, wait a minute, John told me I could just keep, I know the method to get there. This is just doing it in a weird way. And so you're going to say, John told me, just start plugging answers in until something works. And I started with 120 because I thought I knew the sales price had to be higher than 30,000. I mean, I could just not get that out of the way. I just had no idea. Could it be 120 or 133 or could it be 82.5? Well, if I plug this in and that was not $150, I can check that off and go on and get the right answer. But to me, it makes sense. Stay as fresh and as focused as you can for all of those questions that you know, and then come back and spend your energy when you know you've got most of the exam out of the way. And by the way, of those 15 that you skipped, I guarantee you many of those will be answered as you go through the exam. So you'll see a question down the road and you'll say, okay, I know how to answer that question. So that's just my recommendation. I think it works well. And so what is the correct answer? Well, we say it's 120, right? And let's hope that's it. And that's the correct answer, okay? Okay, Carr's property was assessed at $75,000. Bard's property was assessed at $92,000. Which of the following is the most correct answer? Well, the ad valorem tax on Bard's property is higher than Carr's. Carr's property is assessed at $75,000. Bard's property was assessed at $92,000. The ad valorem on Bard's property is higher than Carr's. That looks good, doesn't it? But let's read on. The special assessments on Carr's property is higher than Bard's. There's nothing mentioned about special assessments. The ad valorem tax on Carr's property is higher than Bard's. No, Carr's is $75,000, Bard's is $92,000. That doesn't work. The special assessments on Bard's property are higher than Carr's. Well, again, there's nothing mentioned about special assessments, so it must be the first one. I would read that a second or third time on state test day because it never hurts. If Mr. Smith's semi-annual tax on his home is $120,000, so the semi-annual tax is $120,000 on his, Mr. Smith's semi-annual tax on his $120,000 home is $243. The tax rate is $6.75 per 1,000 of assessed value. What is the assessment ratio? Okay, another one of these. And by the way, they love these kind of questions because this is not a softball question. It's not really a hard ball, but it's a fast pitch, okay? And again, this is another question where you could go through the back door, all right? So let's just take a look at it. And I need to delete this screen here and come back over here, and I just want to write some of these scenarios down. So we have semi-annual tax is $243 on $120,000. So the property is $120,000. Let's use a black marker. That's the value of the property, not the assessed value, but the value of the property. And semi-annual means twice a year. Are $243. I immediately know that I've got to multiply that times 2. And the tax rate is $6.75 per $1,000. So it's $6.75 per $1,000. Okay? So I know I need to take this times 2. Why do I need to take 243 times 2? Because it's semi-annual taxes, so that's twice a year. 243 times 2 gives us $486. That's the annual taxes. Okay, $486. So how do we work this? Well, 6.75 gives us, and again, you can go through the back door on this. I'm going to just look at this as I work this here. And I think the answer is 6%. But here's how I got it. So if it's $6.75 per 1,000, if I take 675 times 1,000, I get what? And I could be wrong on this. I'm gonna try this a couple of different ways. So $6.75 times 1,000 gives me $6,750. Okay? Now, I want to look at something real quick here. And I think I told you, I'm not real good at math, okay? So I want to go back over here and let's write 40, 6, 60, and 4. So it says Mr. Smith's semi is, what is the assessment ratio? So what I have to do here, and actually I think is and some of you are wondering, what's John doing right now? So here's how I'm going to do this. We're going to go through the back door because I don't think that's correct. I'm thinking it's either 40% or 60%. So let's just go through the back door on this. And I think that it's what's messing me up here, but I'm going to do my first T problem, and I'm going to do 120,000 times 0.40. So when I do 120,000 times 0.40, I get 48,000. Now again, we're just trying to go through the back door. When I divide that by 1,000, I get 48, right? And 48 times 6.75, so divided by 1,000, so 48 times 6.75 gives me $324. But remember, we have to divide it by 2, so that's $162. So 40% would not be right. So let's try 60, which I think is the answer here, now that I've done this, times 0.60. So 120,000 times 0.60 equals 72,000, divided by 1,000 equals 72, right? And 72 times 6.75 equals 486. Remember, you take that times the 6.75, and that gives me $486. But when we divide that by 2, we get 243. And that's all going to line up. So the correct answer should be 0.60. Now, I'm going to miss this one just for fun so that it shows us that when you miss it, I give you either a video to show you how to get that correct or the correct answer. So I'm just showing, I knew it was 60%, that's what we worked. But notice it says take 243,000 or $243 times 2, which is 486. And then you take 486 divided by 6.75 and you get 72. Take 72 times 1,000 to get 72,000, and then you divide 72,000 by points or by 120 to get 60%. And that's where the T problem comes in play, because at that point, remember, we knew this was that 120 or 240? I think it's 240, isn't it? 120. We know the 120,000's there, right? We're solving for this, and we were working it backwards and came up with 72,000. And so our math tells us to do what? Tells us to divide, and when we do that, we get 0.60. So I wanted to show you this to say, anytime you miss a question at Global Real Estate School, I always give you the answer. And sometimes I have to go in the back door, and there's nothing wrong with doing that, okay? I'm not going to do the equalization factor, but if you do and you miss, again, I'll give you explanations on how to do that. I don't think you'll see that on the exam. CAR is the local county assessor. The valuation CAR places on property for taxation purposes is called, well, it's called the assessed value. Okay, don't forget that, assessed value. If you were asked what an assessment does, which answer would best fit the answer? Well, an assessment's the same as a competitive market analysis? No. An assessment places a value on a property for the purposes of taxation? That sounds pretty good. An assessment places a value on property for the purposes of real estate sales? No. Used by the local city council? No. So it's for taxes. And because of time, we have one more here. I'm just going to, again, in this property, it's assessed at 50% of value. The tax on John's property is $55 per 1,000. What is the real estate tax? Well, I'm just going to select something here. But remember, we would take 95,000 times 0.50, and I'll do that for you here. So 95,000 times 0.50, we get the assessed valuation, $47.50. Taxes are $55 per 1,000. So I'm going to divide the assessed value, $47.5, by 1,000, and I get $47.50. And when I multiply that times the tax rate, $55, I get $2,612.50. So that is how you do that. Well, don't forget, Uncle Pete stands for what? Uncle Pete stands for, well, it's an acronym: police power, eminent domain, taxation, and escheat, okay? Ad valorem, according to value. Real estate taxes are considered ad valorem, meaning according to value. In other words, the tax is being charged on the value of the property that is owned or taxed. So by the way, there is audio with all of our flashcards at the school. The equalization factor, that some areas apply that to make up for distressed properties, just to help with tax purposes. Another review, what is a mill? A mill is 1/1000th of a dollar, or 0.001. And, excuse me, special assessment carries as much weight as a tax lien. It is a tax, it's just called a special assessment, but it's going to benefit certain individuals, either in a subdivision or a municipality. It could be sidewalks, streets, and so forth, and so on. Hey, all of our courses, we have final thoughts where I go through the information, and then we go back through and you go through some more modules or questions. And of course, we finish the modules, you're ready to go on to the next chapter. But that's kind of how our course works at Global Real Estate School. These are the review modules. They are unlocked so you can move around wherever you want to in the review modules. When you're into your course, so for example, when you are in the, go to the home screen here, you can turn this off if you want to. I just have it show that, but if you come down here, and if you go into a learning path, I'm just going to go into the Missouri learning path, but remember we are in 10 states. This is the main course. These modules, you cannot jump around. You have to follow them piece by piece. But notice when I'm using the arrow to expand or lower, this will always be expanded. Sometimes people don't realize, if you scroll down below, there's the 24-hour practice course that's required. Here's your review modules. Here's study sessions, practice exams, new Missouri exam questions, Missouri license law review, Missouri review, and then I have some little flashcards from Quizlet that you can take a look at, that people are always building content to. So don't forget, we have lots of content down below. I have everything on podcasts for you. We always have, I'm doing some live study sessions that you can go to. Lots of things that you can benefit from Global Real Estate School. Well, we're almost to 3,000 subscribers. Subscribe, help me get there, okay? And love to have you be a part of that. I'm trying to live stream as much as I can to help you out. And so thank you so much. Remember, I have a great course called The Ultimate Real Estate Exam Prep. And it has digital flashcards. It has practice questions. It has my coaching videos, my real estate exam coaching videos, where they're short, little, concise videos where I coach you on how to answer questions, definitions, and so forth on the real estate examination. Well, as always, I want to say thank you so much. And I want to just go over here real quickly and remind you to go to globalrealestateschool.com right here. We have 10 courses, 10 states we're approved in now. We are also approved in Washington. I do not have that up here yet, but 10 states we are approved in. Again, we have exam prep, good in all 50 states. This is national content, and lots of my coaching videos. We have continuing education in 3 different jurisdictions now. You can get those right here. Missouri, Oklahoma, and Indiana is right up here. We have some state-specific exam. If you need a post-license course, you can do that as well. And then I have lots of other professional development tools that you have access to if you so choose. But globalrealestateschool.com, love to have you as part of our course, and I'm trying to help you pass the real estate exam. Tell your friends about us. Tell anyone that says, where do I go get my real estate license? globalrealestateschool.com. Hey, thank you so much for watching today. It's Friday. You may not be Friday while you're watching this, but if you're watching this live right now, go out, enjoy the weekend, come back and study a little bit. I'm going to try to do some live streaming over the weekend. I'm going to try to, but I appreciate all of the kind words and feedback I get from folks. So thank you again. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.